sports on a Saturday night.
Hello guys, this is the Gaming Revolution here and welcome to an all new Black Ops 3 Zombies video. Now yesterday we got the third issue of the Call of Duty Zombies comic book and it gave us a ton of interesting storyline information. But within the iTunes version of this comic book there was no new loading screen. Now this was just a mistake. For some reason they didn't include the last page of the comic book within the iTunes version. However, if you bought the physical copy or you bought the copy from Dark Horse, then it did include the last page, which included a brand new loading screen. Now this brand new loading screen is actually of Nacht-der-Untoten. However, this loading screen has been changed from Nacht-der-Untoten's original loading screen to now fit Mob of the Dead, and there's some very interesting stuff on this loading screen. So on the original Nacht-der-Untoten loading screen, this was sort of teasing a ton of stuff in regards to Ascension and 5. Obviously a lot of people speculated that this character was indeed the Pentagon thief from 5. A lot of people also speculated that the warehouse in the top right was some sort of secret facility, possibly in Area 51. And for some weird reason, the timeline that was on the original Nacht-der-Untoten loading screen was going in reverse. Now the fact that it was going in reverse was very interesting. Now this loading screen was obviously the Black Ops 1 version, not the World at War version. However, moving on to this new loading screen which we have gotten within the comic book, this has now been changed completely to have nothing to do with 5 or Ascension or Nacht-der-Untoten for that matter, and it's essentially a new Mob of the Dead loading screen. And we're going to be going through, breaking it down, and we're going to be talking about everything that this loading screen showcases. So we've got the timeline going from 1914, 1933 to 1941. Now in 1914 we can see that there is indeed the Warden, aka Ferguson, from Mob of the Dead. We can tell because he's got the baton, as you can see, in his right hand. Now 1914, if you're wondering, is the date when Alcatraz opened up, obviously where Mob of the Dead was set up. So I guess this is where the Warden first went ahead and went to Mob of the Dead. So that's what this image is indeed showing us. Now on the second image that we can see that Ferguson, aka the Warden, seems to be sitting at his desk. We can see the candles and stuff like that, which are obviously reminiscent of the Warden's office, his desk that we see within Mob of the Dead. Now from the looks of things, he seems to be summoning some sort of evil, the ancient evil. Now he is most likely summoning Baphomet. This is like a devil-like being. Obviously we know that Ferguson did perform these rituals on Mob of the Dead. He was a believer in 666, Satan and all of that jazz. And that's what we see in 1933. And then we see another image which says shuffle shuffle, and then we see the prisoners walking in a straight line. Now the fact that it says shuffle shuffle is probably in reference to the act of the marching that is often seen within jail cells. Convicts and soldiers often possess this type of marching. It's a very ordered and structured thing, and this is what the shuffling is referencing to. Now 1933 is obviously when Mob of the Dead is set. So 1914 is when Alcatraz opens, 1933 is when Mob of the Dead is set. So that image where we see all of the different prisoners walking, I presume is right when the Mob of the Dead intro cutscene takes place. But then here's the really interesting thing. Right below that we can see 4 different capsules. Now these capsules are the exact same capsules that we see within Der Eisendrache when we see Dempsey come down from the sky and obviously crash onto Der Eisendrache. Now from this we can assume that these 4 different capsules are housing the 4 different 1.0 characters from the Giant, because at some point in time all of our 1.0 characters of Dempsey, Nikolai, Takio and also Pablo were all within these capsules, but we only ever see Dempsey within one on Der Eisendrache. Now it is possible that these 4 different capsules are holding someone else, someone different to the 1.0 characters, possibly the Mob of the Dead crew or something else like that, but I don't think they are, because I doubt there would be identical capsules. People have been saying that maybe before they went to Mob of the Dead, the Mob of the Dead crew were in these capsules, but that makes no sense whatsoever if you think about it logically. Why would they be in these capsules? Now one theory that I've seen floating around around the community quite a bit over the last few hours is that possibly these 4 cryogenic chambers could indeed have the 4 different Mob of the Dead characters within them, and they may have been put into some sort of cryogenic stasis. Now, I'm not sure why they may have been put in one of these chambers, but what this could have meant is it could have damned their souls to an eternal hell or purgatory, which is indeed why they're trapped within Mob of the Dead in this endless cycle. So it's all just something that's in their head. Their soul could possibly be trapped within purgatory, although they're physically still alive, if that makes any sense. So when our characters go ahead to Mob of the Dead, they're essentially going within their heads, which is absolutely crazy. So they may be trapped within this eternal cycle whilst they're just trapped within these cryogenic chambers. I'm not sure how they would end up in here, but it would explain such things as the Weasel being able to recognize Nikolai due to the bleeding of worlds and stuff like that. But I honestly don't know, it's all up in the air at this point. It could possibly be the 1.0 characters. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Personally, I believe these capsules are indeed holding the 1.0 characters. Now obviously the 1.0 characters are technically not 1.0 characters, since obviously they're not the versions from World at War, they're different versions of themselves from other specific universes. Each of the different characters are younger versions of themselves from different specific universes. But even then, Treyarch even refer to them as 1.0 characters, but technically speaking that should not be the correct name. And then it says I'm guessing that's just in reference to the sound that these capsules are making, but it could be in reference to someone with the name M, possibly Monty, but I don't think that's the case. But then we go over to 1941, and this is where it gets really interesting. Now obviously in the original Nacht der Untoten loading screen we had this warehouse, however on this new Nacht der Untoten loading screen we've instead got an image of the prison cells on Mob of the Dead, and then we've got a character standing in the center. I'm not sure who that character is, but it most likely is Ferguson, aka the Warden. But then if we look in the right of the image, we can see what appears to be the exact same 4 capsules, or possibly only 2. I can only make out 2, but maybe there are 2 other capsules that are just sort of in the darkness that we can see right before 1933. So is it possible that these capsules are holding the 1.0 characters within Mob of the Dead? But this makes no sense whatsoever. Now I'm not sure if I'm correct about this, I could be wrong, but they definitely do look like the capsules below there. But this makes no sense whatsoever. Why would the 1.0 characters be within these capsules on Mob of the Dead? Again, I could just be seeing this wrong. I could be misinterpreting this here, so don't take this as fact. This is just what I'm visualizing. You can tell me down in the comment section if you do agree. Do you think that these capsules, or what appears to be capsules to me, are indeed the 1.0 characters within Mob of the Dead? Or do you think these aren't capsules at all? Or possibly do you think they are capsules but they aren't holding the 1.0 characters and they could be holding someone else entirely? But then if we move over to 1941, we can see that we have the 4 Origins crew, and then most definitely the Origins crew, you can make out their outlines, you can make out Nikolai's hat and stuff like that. It's most definitely them, but we can see them about to enter the portal at the end of the Zetsubo no Shima Easter egg. Obviously at the end of Zetsubo no Shima we went through a portal and we went to Mob of the Dead to go ahead and collect our blood vials. So that's what it's showing here, because 1941 is probably when Zetsubo no Shima is set. So what I think happens is in 1941 they go back in time to 1933 to go ahead and get their blood vials, and then they come back to Zetsubo no Shima in 1941. But here's something I just wanted to make note of. Everyone's been talking about the fact that Richtofen traveled to Mob of the Dead prior to Origins, because obviously our Origins Richtofen already had the blood vials. But what if, this is just a theory, this could be wrong, what if our characters went to Mob of the Dead at the end of the Zetsubo no Shima Easter egg and Richtofen collected blood vials for each of our characters, including for himself? However, he already had blood vials, so he didn't need an extra set of blood vials for himself. So what he then did is he traveled back in time prior to Origins to give the blood vials to the Origins crew, and that's how come he even has the blood vials in the first place. That could be a possibility, but again, that's just speculation. I could be entirely wrong there. Let me know what you think of this brand new Nacht der Untoten loading screen, which has been changed into a Mob of the Dead loading screen. Obviously, this could be used as evidence towards a Nacht der Untoten or a Mob of the Dead remake. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below. I think as we're going to continue to see these comics released, it's going to make a lot more sense, and also what these loading screens are meaning. But this has brought up quite a lot of confusions in my own personal opinion, especially regarding the fact that there is indeed the 4 different capsules that I presume are holding the 1.0 characters, which seemingly appear in the top right, obviously on Mob of the Dead, but I could be wrong there. But anyways, thanks for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if not for the latest and greatest Black Ops 3 Zombies news information. So anyways, thanks for watching, and bye.